This is an Eris alignment alert. This is a red alert. This is a red alert. Has 2019 been a roller coaster or what? We are getting ready for major storms across the world, and specifically the United States of America. We got a little bit of everything for everybody headed this way, but I want to point out here the rain totals involved in our New Jersey, New York, New England coastal storm continue to increase and are showing signs of purple, and purple means a whole lot of rain in a short amount of time. And so we are watching this storm, which should begin to bring rain into the Boston, New York area on the 9th, which is tomorrow. And then our double low system will track up and watch as it pulls that moisture straight into Boston and possibly New York. And then notice how the big bad blizzard, which will be moving through Canada, parts of North and South Dakota, and then across the North Midwest, actually connects to our giant monster system. That's fascinating, right? And so a lot of areas are going to be getting the bookend double squeeze of mixed precipitation. It's super interesting. But if you notice, the rain doesn't leave New York for about anywhere 2 days to 3 or 4 days. And seeing as this falls in the time frame of the Eris alignment alert, which last year manifested itself in Hurricane Michael, which everybody said was going to be a Category 1 hurricane at best, and then it became a Category 5, and everybody was surprised. And so that's all I've been saying, is that I think everybody during this date and October, because my timing may be way off, really needs to be ready for some surprises. And then you get a secondary storm that will be hitting the northeast coast, but it will be more like an exiting fashion, but it strengthens as it leaves a week later. And then you got a hurricane situation in the Gulf around the 14th, but the models keep drawing it up as a super mega high. And so it gets squished and then sent into the Pacific, which I'd be totally fine with. But then a lot of that moisture ends up in Texas. And so it's a good time to be paying attention, man. And I get that everybody has hurricane fatigue, but with 1, 2 lows off the coast and a third in the mid-Atlantic, especially shaped like a flying shrimp alien demon, I would be paying close attention. Now, what I usually do is give you multiple opinions, and Cranky Weather Guy, who has been phenomenal all season, isn't really that worried about the storm because he says it's not one concentrated low. But, I usually like to be prepared to the over-prepared side. I was a Boy Scout. And so, A, not only the Eris dates, B, look at the size of this thing, man. I mean, it looks like a major monster, and it is just now getting going. And so if you're looking at this thing knowing we've got at least 5 more days of development before it leaves the United States area, then this thing definitely has the ability to surprise to the high side, in my opinion. And then knowing you have a major big battle between the hot and the cold, man, there's just maximum potential for a very stormy period. This is one of my favorite maps to gauge things because it shows us precipitable water, and that means rain that is willing to participate in a severe weather event. And the atmosphere consists of layers. And so you can see some pretty big pink surges throughout the whole thing, meaning it has potential to drop a whole lot of rain. And it has multiple streams. You have this stream here, and then this stream coming from down here. So you're getting some mid-Atlantic moisture and some Gulf moisture, that's a whole lot of moisture, especially if it starts to wrap up in a cyclonic fashion. And so the hot side is hot, and the cold side is cold, and this cold side will be undergoing blizzard conditions with over a feet of snow, some hardcore winds, and thunder snow, I would guess. And so we're looking at a pretty hardcore storm out of season right before a hybrid coastal low, which I still think has the potential to turn into hurricane pressure. We will continue to watch. Mid-October was crazy last year. I'd expect it to be crazy this year. One thing you can take a gander at is if this does continue to shift west, it would bring a hellacious amount of rain to a lot of our coastal areas. And it looks like Minnesota, what is this state right here? Whatever state this is, plus these Canadian states, looks like you guys are in for some pretty major flooding. This is the water vapor situation. And as you can see, we've got a whole lot of water vapor to deal with, man. And that's a ton. So we got a lot of water vapor. We got a lot of precipitable water. We got the incoming high, which is supposed to keep it offshore. Cranky Weather Guy's pretty sure it's going to keep it offshore, and so he has been spot on all season. But I would continue to watch if there are any major surprises in store. And always use your own intuition, do your own due diligence, and use the force if you can. But it seems like it looks to me it's got all the components to be a pretty big coastal storm for the upper Northeast. Yeah. The heat content that the storm has to work with is pretty decent and has some hurricane fuel up until about this area. And if the air's pressure has anything to do with it, we could see it possibly get to a Cat 3, though I'm the only person on the planet saying that. And I'm not guaranteeing it's going to be a hurricane or Cat 3. I'm just saying that seeing the variables that I'm working with, it is possible. As with almost all things, it is best to keep a sense of humor, because a sense of humor improves any situation. Models continue to drop a hurricane around the 14th in the Gulf of Mexico. But the models also drop a super mega massive high on steroids that would push it through Guatemala into the Pacific, which would be okay with me. But I definitely think the Gulf is going to have to be monitored into the first week of November. And if this super high does not show up, then it will definitely be a threat to the United States. Don't Fibonacci me, man. Super Typhoon Hagibis eyewall replacement cycle. The typhoon is back to beast mode with an impressive synthetic debt obligation. And this looks like it's going to be a problem for Japan. This is brought to us by Michael Ventris. And I want to point out again, this looks exactly like Eris. Like exactly. And that if you would shoot a bullet through Earth, it would seem like that the other side of that bullet would come out either here or here. And so is this Eris and that's dysnomia? Who knows? But you see what I'm talking about? Like, actually, it's the top one. So that's literally like you can draw a straight line, which I will for you. But here we go. This may take me a second. How are you doing? What are you wearing? What's your favorite day of the year? Mine is Christmas, because there's always like a period where a couple hours where everybody's really happy. So as an empath, I can feel that. Okay, smoke them if you got them. See that? Did I, let me pick a thicker line. I just had a few moments of dead air. That's not something that you should do if you have a YouTube channel. But see, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I would watch this thing like a hawk. Man. Everything's connected. Plus, there's a lot of shit we don't understand about our universe, our solar system, our sun, our atmosphere, and our weather. It's just everybody's too proud to admit it. Weather Network letting us know that Category 5 equivalent in just 24 hours, becoming one of the most explosive storms on record, Hagibis will be a major threat to Japan. Rob Maeda letting us know we got a strong Santa Ana wind event coming. Surface winds and 925 millibar, although it's 2,500 feet up. Wind forecast, 3K NAM shows flaring of strongest wind pre-dawn Thursday for Bay Area. Note the swath of strong winds across Ventura and LA counties to the south as well. And so you have the middle of the United States going through a major event, weather event. You have the West Coast going through a major Santa Ana event. You have a giant hybrid coastal storm on the 10th. You have Hagibis threatening Japan. Now let's wonder what's happening in Europe. And yes, Europe, it'll be getting a bit wet and windy too. So as the storm from the coast will connect all the way over. Hey, let's turn the wind back on, shall we? It looks like a scorpion with an eye. That can't be good. Maybe we can. See that? It's like Scorpion 1, Scorpion 2. Oy vey. So that's a lot of precipitation, man. It's a lot of wind as well. And it's like the moisture, because of the lopsided shape, all the moisture is going to be on this side, which will be bad news as it pulls it in counterclockwise. Boston is geared to get the worst of the storm now, parts of Massachusetts, and some heavy rain. And I do believe we do have atmospheric defense, and there's kind of a shield over New York, which means around the city we'll probably get some pretty high rain totals. 3 p.m. on Thursday, the Euro draws up 70 mile per hour wind gusts. NAM has about 64, and the GFS about 53. Now let's look at rain. You want to do that? There we go. GFS is like not a lot of rain. The Euro has some pretty high popping rain in the tail. And then the NAM takes a lot of the rain into New York, Boston, and whatever state Hartford's in. The NAM draws it up at 994, which would make it a hurricane strength hurricane, I guess. Subtropical, hybrid, nor'easter, weather weenie, snow, non-snow event. Yeah, so that would be Category 1 hurricane. Now, the Euro at the same time keeps it, makes it bigger, has a bigger wind field, and keeps it at about 1,000. The GFS keeps it at about 1,000. But remember, the Euro and the GFS had Hurricane Michael at about 1,000 millibars up until 24 hours before landfall, when everybody realized they were wrong. And this is the big high that will be either driving it, keeping it in place. We will see. So I would recommend staying on high alert for this event because it has a bunch of anomalous factors, and it looks like a bunch of severe weather all across the globe, including the West Pacific, which does have a major Category 5 typhoon, which is just another name for a hurricane on its hands. But nothing about this gives me a peaceful, easy feeling. I mean, it's like a big system connected to this, which is then going to connect to a blizzard. You got to be kidding me. It is 2019. It is the middle of October. If you do want to support me, my channel, my science, and my awesomeness, you can send me a letter. I got multiple ways you can donate or contribute. And I'd like to say thanks to anyone out there who's contributed, said prayers, been cool during my almost 7 years of THORnews. It will be my 7th year anniversary of doing this full time. November 23rd. I'm hoping to celebrate, but we'll see. Anywho, God bless everyone. Special shout out and thank you again to Lynn and George in North Carolina. Lynn's in Texas. Y'all are awesome, and everybody else out there in Asteroid Fight Club. Thanks for fighting the good fight. There are a lot of good people out there. I just wish we could do more with the tools and resources we had. All right. Everybody stay cool. I will do my best to do the same. God bless everyone.